Moo cows. Don't like moo cows. As long as they stay sitting down, I'll be all right. You find me back in the shed, having just finished this week's erg session. Yeah, so this week I think I will talk you through my week after Christmas, sort of from Christmas onwards, and the sort of last minute reading I'm having to do for this coming term. I think the main problem is the Spanish ballads. We're working on a paper where I basically have to read 1 trillion poems, or romances they call them, that are, I mean, I don't understand them, and they're just there are so many of them, so many. But yeah, here we go, enjoy. Okay, I've just set out on my Christmas run. Decided to make it a long one, 14k. That's quite long for me. So yeah, just started, and I'll keep you updated as we go. Keep note of the colour of my face, because it's sure to change. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. It rained a little bit, but it's relatively dry now.
Future Arthur making an impromptu appearance here. Don't lie to the viewers. It was soaking, as you can see here. Absolutely terrible. Had to walk through a stream of water, and then my shoes went from red to brown. Anyway, I'll let Past Arthur, Christmas Day Arthur, get back to his porky pie telling.
And I'm starting to suffer a little bit, but plodding along, wet feet.
Future Arthur back again to apologise to Past Arthur, because he then decided to tell the truth about his feet. Sorry.
Muddy shoes, but there we go. Must have taken a wrong turn somewhere, because I'm pretty lost. No idea where I am. I'm just going to check the map now. It's uphill all the way home now, I think, though, which is not a nice prospect, but there will be Christmas lunch waiting for me, so I can't really complain. Anyway, off I go. Getting lost is not good. It's a massive hill to run up. Oh man, not fun. Might have to walk it now, I'm not gonna lie. Ugh. Coming to the end now, about 1 kilometre to go. Not feeling too shabby, but definitely not going very quick. So yeah, shower and then chill for the rest of the day, I think. So Boxing Day was really chill, and so was the 27th actually. All I was doing was reading those books. I finished the French one off on Christmas Eve, and then read the last French one sort of on the 26th and the 27th, and also the 28th. On the 28th we went up to my grandparents up north near Derby, and yeah, yesterday was more of the same, just sitting down and reading all day basically. It's not very interesting, but it's got to be done. Although I've got to the point now where I've sort of got 6 poetry collections left to read and about 10 days to read them. I don't think it's going to work, but I'll talk you through what books I've actually had to read during these holidays, and how I go about tackling the humongous task of getting through them all, or trying to get through them all, later on. Tomorrow, which is New Year's Eve. Well done, Arthur, keeping track of the dates. I'm going mountain biking in Wales with my dad, so unfortunately I'll be reading there and back in the car, but that'll be really nice. When I get home, unfortunately I have to repair a puncture before we go mountain biking, because it snuck past me last time I was patching up my inner tube. I think I had to do 3 in 1 last time, and clearly there was a 4th. So that's what I'm going to be doing when I get home now. But yeah, there we go. So, puncture fixed, and now I'm going to talk you through what I've been doing most of these Christmas holidays. So, I have been reading all the texts that that we're going to be studying next term. And I started with Papa Doit Manger by Marie Ndiaye, I think you pronounce it. This particular one is a contemporary play written in 2000 and something, or it might be the late 1990s. I'm not sure, but it's quite an interesting one actually. It's about a father who has abandoned his children and his partner, and actually his wife, and returns 10 years on, sort of thing, asking for money but pretending that he is rich and is great and is a businessman and everything. So there are some interesting themes in there, but what I wanted to talk about is my way of tackling these big reading tasks. So I've had, initially I thought I had to read about 11 books during this holiday, which is obviously a huge amount and really hard to sort of get your head around, and it can be quite challenging to think about it. So what I do is I grab the book I'm going to read, and this one is not a very long one. It's 95 pages. So for that, for me, that's sort of a day of reading, because the pages are quite short and the print is quite large. So I think 95 pages, split it into 2, it's about 47 in the morning, 48 in the afternoon, or I find like a nice chapter split around that point. So I'll read half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. After that, I read, got them in a pile here, La Châtelaine de Vergy, which is a very, very, very old sort of poem in French, written a very long time ago, and it's just a long poem. So it tells a story, but in poem form, sort of thing. Thankfully, the edition I have has a sort of modern translation next to it, so that I can actually understand what's going on. That's another short one, so I managed to read that in a day. But then we got on to, and this was a nightmare, Dangerous Liaisons, or Les Liaisons Dangereuses, which is an epistolary novel, which is it basically means that the novel is made up of letters written between the characters, and that's how the plot is formed. And this was a nightmare. It was so long and hard. I mean, I think 440 pages or something, and this really was like boom, smack in the face. But again, I took it, I thought 440 pages, how many pages can I read a day? The pages are quite small, but the text is also really small, so I think I can probably do 80 pages a day, and that's sort of 5.5 days. So what I do, again, 80 pages a day, 40 in the morning, 40 in the evening, and occasionally I would do 30 in the morning and 30 in the evening if I just couldn't really be bothered. And so I went about it like that, just religiously, 40 here, 40 there, to just get through it. And it's not enjoyable, but if you've got this sort of nice structure where you say, I'm going to do this morning and I'm going to do this evening, I find it really, really helped. So I got through that, and it was so long and so boring. But anyway, I then read Indiana by Georges Sand, and that's actually a pseudonym for I think a lady with a surname called Dupin. Interesting, similar to Liaisons Dangereuses, a bit more contemporary, but still 18th century. So not 18th century, 1800s. So I mean, there we go. And same tactic again. Now this time, at this point, French finished. I was starting to worry, because I've got 6 books left, I think, and we start with I don't know where I've put it. El Romancero Viejo. So this term in Spanish, we're doing the ballads paper, which is essentially reading these ballads, these poems, these sometimes long poems, they're called romances, that talk about the golden age, but also the medieval period. And in this first collection of these poems, there are 140 in there. And I thought, oh, okay. They're between half a page and 6 pages long, sort of thing. So I thought, let's try and do 70 per day. Let's see if I can do it in 2 days. First day I got to about 50, and then the second day I managed another 50. And at this point I was thinking, if I've got to do another 5 of these books, we're going to have a bit of a problem, because I'm going back in about 10 days. So yeah, at this point I realised I'm not going to be asked a question on every single one of these poems. Hang on. There's a list of the poems I'm meant to read from each collection. So I've been reading every single poem when I'd actually only needed to read, for instance, I mean, I'm taking this out of the air, 1 out of every 2 poems. Yeah, so I'd been given a list of which ones I had to read, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So when I remembered this, I was so overjoyed. And seeing as this this paper, this ballads paper in the exam, we're not actually getting examined on it. We're being, I think they call it a certification, which is essentially where your tutor says, yes, they can write an essay on the ballads, yes, they can write a commentary on the ballads, and then that's sort of ticked off the list. So I don't actually need to worry about reading every single one. I just need to read the ones that I'm going to get asked questions on in tutorials and in my essays. And seeing as I already know my essay titles for this term, I can just read the ones that I need to read. I realised that this afternoon, and it made me so happy, because it just makes this last week at home a lot more chilled out. Because instead of having to read this, and one more, which is the one I started today, started yesterday, I only have to read certain bits of them, which just makes my life a lot better, and it means I can focus on chilling out a little bit more. I will still be busy, but yeah. So that is how I tackle reading in the holidays, or reading. I mean, it works even for A-level, even if the book is short, but you struggle to read in a foreign language. You just look at how many pages there are, think about how many you can do in a day, and then split it between 2 or 3 times in the day. You say, I'm going to sit down here for 2 hours, and I'm going to read 30 pages. I'm going to sit down here for 1 hour and read 15 pages. And then I'm going to sit down in the evening and read for an hour, and that's another 15 pages. And there you go. You already have 60 pages out of, let's say, 200. So you're nearly there already. And by breaking them down into smaller chunks, and sort of scheduling yourself, I find that it's much easier to get through a big, bad book. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will keep you updated with my last week of holidays.